Okay, so we're going to start with fee-based filings, and what we're going to do at this point is an ex parte motion for default and default judgment. That is probably one of the most common filings that we see here in district court, and so we wanted to show you kind of what is going to change with that process. So I'm logged into my account, and this time I'm going to show you how to get to a case from My Cases. So from the Actions menu, I'm going to click on My Cases, and I'm going to enter this filing into a case that I already have. These are real cases that we have been converting over. So I'm just going to pick one, and I'm going to say File Document from this drop-down menu. So here I have the information about my case, and I'm presented with a form to select my document type and upload a document. So for the default judgments, there are a number of filings that are going to be required. And if anyone has looked through the training packet that was attached to the event invitation for today, you will notice that there, beginning on page 4, are some required filings for ex parte motions. Next to each title, we've given you a number, and that number is the code for that record in our system. And that code can actually be used to search for things. So we thought if anybody is a code-driven user, that might save you a little bit of time. So here I'm going to start with the entry of my motion, and I'm going to use the code for this one. And I have here, it's pulling up a motion for default and default judgment. You'll note that it is telling me that I have a $20 filing fee expected. And the motion is always what you want to enter first, because that is going to trigger the rest of the requirements for the system. The next field I'm going to enter is filed by. For this exercise, I'm going to be the plaintiff. And where you see a question of ex parte, I'm going to say yes here. That is going to tell the system that I need to pay $20 for this filing, and it's going to put it in a specific workflow on the court side for the judge to sign. If I were to say ex parte no, it would not charge me a fee, and it would create a workflow item for the clerk to schedule a hearing. So for this exercise, we're going to do ex parte yes. Going to browse for my document type, which is my motion for default and default judgment. Now back to the required filings. For any ex parte motion, we are going to require a proposed order to be filed, and that it be filed separate from the motion. So this will be a change for some filers who currently do a combined motion and order document. Our system won't support that any longer. So we are going to need separate orders so that the judge can sign just that and return it to you for a conformed copy. For this package, I also need to include my proof of service. So I clicked the plus sign here next to additional document, and I'm going to type by a keyword return. And I have a number of options. I'm going to select the affidavit declaration or return of service. And I'm going to browse for that file. The next document I'm going to add, which is optional, is the declaration of prejudgment interest. This is optional because if you're not requesting prejudgment interest, you don't have to file this document. So I'm going to type by a keyword to try to narrow my search results. So declaration of prejudgment interest. And I also need my military declaration. So I'm going to do another additional document. Search by military keyword. And I do also need to include my formal proof of claim, but I'm not going to put that in just yet because I want to show you what the system does when you forget a document that it's expecting. So I'm going to go ahead and tell the system I want to proceed. And based on that first document I entered, that motion, it's going to check everything else I filed to see if anything is missing. And you'll get one of two types of messages. So here I have a red message. This is an error, and this will not let me proceed until I have repaired this error. So this is telling me that I need a formal proof of claim, and so I'll go ahead and add another document for that. And then the yellow is a warning. That means that the filing is optional, but if you are seeking the outcome of that document, you need to have the document filed. So this one here is declaration of costs. If I don't provide it, then the judge won't have that for consideration. So I'm going to do an additional document. I'm going to call it my proof of claim. And I will just throw this in here for now. And now I'm going to try to go forward with my filing. Okay, so now my file is in my cart. Before I check out, I am going to show you what the bulk process looks like. So I'm actually going to put a filing into another case and then check out both items at the same time. The next one I'm going to file is an affidavit and writ of garnishment, and that again is another common filing we see. This time I'm going to search for a case. And I'll show you how you can file into a case by searching. So I'm just going to enter a case number I know off the top of my head. And here it comes there at the bottom. I'm going to click the link to the case. And while we're here, I'm going to show you a little bit what our case view looks like for all of our cases on our portal. On this summary page here, you're going to be able to see the case filing date and the title, what the underlying action is. This is a rent action and the amount of claim. You will see the parties associated with the action, as well as any attorneys or judges who are assigned to the case. If there were any past or future hearings, you would see them here in the event panel. On this second tab here, you will see an inventory of all of the documents on the case. Now, I'm logged in right now as a user who did not create this case, so I don't have the access to the document images. This will mirror what you would see as a registered public user. You will see the date something is filed and what it is and what the status is. So I know that this summons is filed and was filed via the portal, but I won't see the content of it. The user who will always see the image is the attorney, and that's what that service fee, that account access fee is paying for, is the unlimited document access. If this were a case I had filed, I would always have the documents. So that is the primary difference we wanted to illustrate between the two accounts. While I'm here on the Documents page, I'm going to click this button on the right that says Add Filing. This is where I'm going to file my writ. So just as we did with the default judgment, I'm going to search for my document type. I have my affidavit and writ of garnishment. And just look for my file here. And proceed, add to cart. So this one's pretty simple. It's one required document, and once it's in my cart, all I have to do is check out. So I'm going to take both of these items and pay for them at the same time so you can see kind of what that process looks like on a smaller scale. So again, when I say pay, it's going to give me the breakdown of each transaction. Here my motion for default is $20. My writ is $12 for a total of $32. And now I'm going to take myself through the county's processor to process the payment. And you'll see that the total here matches $32. And just as before, I'm going to enter my credit card information. And enter my city, state. Okay, so now on this next screen, I'll see, here's my $32 total, eventually my $199 processing fee. And once my payment is accepted through Point and Pay, it'll route me right back to the portal. And here I've got my payment confirmation. I can see now that the balance on both of my filings is paid, and they are on their way to the court for processing. So on a grander scale, that can accommodate, we haven't really found a limit yet. We do have a per filing limit of 50 megabytes. So that would be for your default package with all of its documents, it'd be a 50 megabyte limit. But once it's in your cart, that limit starts over for each filing. So if you are interested in testing the bounds of that, we would love to hear what you come up with. But as far as we can tell, we don't suspect any problems for you folks with any of your bulk filing needs.